everybody. Welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh, and on the show for you today, we are continuing our coverage of what is going on with Israel and Palestine. Jews and Arabs clashing on Israel's streets. Hundreds of people have been arrested on rioting charges, and the city of Lod was placed on lockdown after mobs of Jews and Arabs went to the streets looking for violence. Mostly seems to be, at this point, just street protesters, with, of course, a few rockets kind of hitting the Iron Dome, and then some pretty big airstrikes on the Israeli side, like demolishing a civilian apartment building. But that may change as Israel is vowing that Gaza will burn. This is just the beginning, says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after Israel bombarded the besieged Gaza Strip. And even the Benny Gantz, the defense minister and former Netanyahu opposition, threatened more destruction than he ordered in Gaza in 2014. So we're going to take you on that and tell you what the Israeli government is saying. Meanwhile, we are also watching what Instagram is doing, labeling one of Islam's holiest mosques a terrorist organization, blocking all videos and reports from that area that may have been on Instagram and geolocated to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And we will take a trip back home to the Republican Party and the political complications that may overrise from Liz Cheney being overthrown, and why she really, she did a kind of a courageous thing standing up to the party, but she is definitely no politician to be celebrated. And so it's very, very good to have with us again the old panel. Zach and Eli are back, folks. Great to have them back.
Yo.
All right. Let's get into it right now. We are first starting with what's been going on in the streets of Israel at the moment, and that is clashes here in New York Times reporting between the Arabs and the Jews in Israel. It seems to be mostly in Lod and Jerusalem. They gave way to warnings from Israeli leaders that the decades-old conflict could be careening toward a civil war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the scenes of arson and violence as anarchy and appealed for an end to the lynchings. It would be interesting to see who's getting lynched in the end, and which way, though, the balance of the bodies lie here. What's been happening in Israel's cities over the past few days is unacceptable. It's anarchy. Israeli citizens must not take the law into their hands, even if blood is boiling. He added, nothing justifies the lynching of Jews by Arabs, and nothing justifies the lynching of Arabs by Jews. So yeah, he's going to, of course, say these quotes while really kind of escalating the conflict here. And I know some people in this call may disagree, but Israel carried out more airstrikes against Hamas targets in Gaza, where the death toll rose on Thursday to 83 people since the fighting began earlier this week, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. So Palestinian militants fired volleys of rockets that reached Israel so far, where 7 have died. And a lot of it, though, is what we see going on with a lot of street conflict, cities being damaged, and a lot of rioting going on. So what has been your reaction to the kind of last few days of action and violence in Israel? Zach?
Israel does bad stuff, but maybe we shouldn't be quoting Hitler and saying that Hitler was right.
Yeah, who was that person that did that?
It was some like Pakistani.
Yeah, Pakistani actress, I think, said that. But yeah, I don't think people are quoting Hitler, but a lot of people definitely seem to be. And what has been a very worrying sign for at least the American Israel lobby, viewing this issue with a different lens. That, all the people who were pro BLM in the summer are now pro Palestine in this spring. Do you get that sense?
Yeah, I kind of see that.
Yeah, a little bit.
And how do you guys feel about that?
I mean,
people talking right now have no clue what they're talking about.
I do agree.
Like, all the activism right now is all mostly just BS.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I personally, I would like to say that I'm going to hazard a guess that I know a little bit more than the average person about this conflict, but I still would say that I don't know the most. You do have to be, of course, very careful, and it's good to always read as a general rule of thumb for anything. Read what you're posting on Instagram. Personally, my kind of rule of thumb, it's maybe not the best rule, but I always like to post about something like that other people wouldn't post about. But now it seems like a lot of people, in a very surprising turn of events, have started to care about the Palestinian struggle a lot more. So several Israeli leaders, led by President Reuven Rivlin, evoked the specter of civil war, a once unthinkable idea. And so it's interesting, like, what is the term meant here by civil war? Because you would think that these are two parties that are separate. Is it talking about Israeli Palestinians in kind of conflict with Israeli Jews, or is it more of a kind of focus, do you guys think, in this language towards kind of an Israeli Hamas conflict? Because that wouldn't really be a civil war, would it?
Yeah, that probably would not be considered a civil war. So it's probably just infighting, because there has been a lot of infighting between like Arab Israelis and Jewish Israelis within Israel.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people, Israel likes to call them Arab Israelis, but they also, East Jerusalem, you see what's happening there. It's very clear that some people are more Israeli than others. And those are the Jewish Israelis.
No, but that East Jerusalem is not Israel.
That's why they're celebrating it. 1967, Six-Day War.
No, that's like the settlements. But
Jerusalem.
Those people aren't Israelis.
They're Israeli residents, I think is the term, not Israeli citizens. That's the thing, and they're still under the kind of. It's definitely different standards. Well,
Jerusalem is like pseudo land.
Yeah, it's very complicated. It's kind of like Berlin, how Berlin was like partitioned in
No, but that was actually like War. Very clear though.
Those were clear borders.
Yeah, like, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Those were as clear as borders.
The East wasn't trying to move into the West, or vice versa.
Well,
yeah. So
I mean, the East was kind of trying to move into the West a little bit since
at least the citizens.
Yeah. But like the government. The police shot an Arab demonstrators in Lod, said Ahmed Tibi, the leader of the Ta'al party. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And a member of Israel's parliament, referring to the mixed Arab-Jewish city in Israel where some of the worst clashes occurred. We don't want bloodshed. We want to protest. So yeah, hopefully they have these protests. But do you think that there's like a legitimate pathway for Palestinians and Arabs in Israel to hold this government accountable and actually get results? Or are they just such a minority that...
No, the right-wing Palestinian government, I mean, not Palestinian, the right-wing Israeli government doesn't care.
Yeah, so even if they do protest, there's not like there's anything going to happen that they really can do. So,
well, the only thing that would even change anything is like if America stops sending them aid, which isn't going to happen, obviously. So
yeah, I mean, it may hopefully eat into some of the Democratic Party support, but like just very, very recently, like 330 members of the House of Representatives signed a letter that said that aid to Israel should not be conditioned. Which is pretty crazy and shows you how far things are to come. So Gaza militants and Israeli forces have been trading attacks for days now, ever since a police raid at a Jerusalem mosque atop the site, revered by both Muslims and Jews. The Israeli border police have been deployed in Arab and mixed Arab-Jewish cities in Israel, and Defense Minister Benny Gantz ordered more of the forces into the streets on Thursday after another night of unrest. So let's use that moment there to transition to what the Israeli government has been saying recently. Israel's war cabinet has approved plans to, it's not just what they've been saying, it's what they've been doing. They've approved plans to broaden the bombing campaign, which has killed dozens of Palestinians so far, including children. Israeli ministers reportedly unanimous in their refusal to accept any ceasefire yet. So that's interesting. What do you think is behind that motivation? Do you think it's politics here? Do you think they're just trying to cause a little bit more trouble, inspire the need for the protection of Bibi Netanyahu by doing this kind of war and do kind of another further incursion into Palestinian land?
Well, I mean, with I don't want to say it's like good for them when Israel gets bombed because it's not, but like the more Hamas launches rockets at them and does bad shit, the easier it is for them to just annex the entire thing and just completely fuck it over.
Well, let's look at it's all about like the context here. It's about all about who starts first and who like pushes the first like button, I guess, would be the
I think that's a
not so-
never-ending rabbit hole because you can just keep going back and back and back and back
Well-
to first.
Well, you look at what's going on, especially with Sheikh Jarrah, and then you have the Al-Aqsa situation. Then Hamas goes rockets in response, and I think the real instigating event here is not especially what's been going on in Sheikh Jarrah or anything going on with the mosque. It's the fact that Bibi Netanyahu is really struggling to form a government for like it's like how many times has it been? Like 6 times now, and yeah, that seems to be a main driver in this.
I mean, you can paint that picture being like, Bibi let this conflict happen so we could hold on the power, but that sounds like there's no like hard evidence to that, so I don't think you can just like flat out make that claim.
Well, I mean, it's just really an assessment of like what you think the political motivations could be, and like just I kind of based off the prior history, and the dynamics at play, what they eventually want to do, which is probably, get the whole West Bank. This would definitely set them on the course to do that because they know, I mean, Hamas is kind of caught in a situation where they can respond with rockets. The rockets really won't do anything except for provoke Israeli return fire. What?
Like 6 Israelis died.
Yeah, obviously... Yeah, they're going to do something, but in proportion to what the Israeli response is going to be, it's going to be like 10 or 50 to 1. And that is just, but then again, will they do nothing? Like, what is it? So it's a very kind of a catch-22 situation there. Yeah, so just to take you back to 2014 here, Benny Gantz just did a recorded address to Palestinians in Gaza. He threatened more destruction than he ordered in 2014 in Gaza. At the time, he was Israel's chief of staff, commanding the 51-day assault that killed more than 2,200 Palestinians, including 551 children. Gaza will burn, Gantz said in the video, a direct threat to civilians that likely constitutes evidence of premeditated intent to do, whatever ends up happening if we can still, hopefully for the time being, say if, but... it's definitely a very, very scary situation here. Do you see something in the vein of 2014 taking place here?
There's definitely a higher than 0 chance.
Sounds like it could be even worse.
Yeah.
Gaza will burn is pretty...
It's pretty yikes.
That's as straightforward as you can get.
Yeah.
That's not a very peaceful statement.
Yeah, it's honestly at this point, I feel like things are kind of reaching a boiling point where there's some action that's going to have to be taken, kind of we're able to put it off with Oslo Accords, like marginalize it to the side. And it's not even that the Palestinians are gaining strength, but the Israelis are just going too far, too fast. I mean, they could probably get what they want in the end if they just did it a little bit slower, which is pretty much, complete control of that area. But, it'll force some action here. It's going to be interesting to see what it is. I mean, at least I think it has to.
I just want the evictions to stop. But it's not going to happen. Well,
yeah, good. That's not
bombings.
Yeah, the only way, honestly, the biggest probably players in this are going to be Joe Biden and, the United States Congress. And
Joe Biden isn't going to do anything.
Yeah, Joe Biden has been...
all he
known
said was
for being
the right to defend itself, which is like duh. What?
And but in his record, he has an extremely pro-Israel record. So, always been. He used to call himself Israel's best friend in the Senate. He definitely has that pedigree of being someone who Israel can rely on. Actually, steering early Obama policy in a pro-Israel direction without the consent or at least knowledge. I mean, he didn't hate it, but at least the knowledge of Barack Obama at the time. So. That kind of shows you what is going to be happening in the future. We are just about at the halfway point here today. So we are going to, actually, you know what? We're going to do one more story here. This is a kind of an interesting tech angle to this, is that Instagram has labeled one of Islam's holiest mosques a terrorist organization. So according to BuzzFeed here, Instagram removed post and blocked hashtags about one of Islam's holiest mosques because its content moderation system mistakenly associated the site with a designation the company reserves for terrorist organizations, according to internal employee communications seen by BuzzFeed News. This mistake is just the latest content moderation failure by Instagram and its parent company, Facebook, which has faced accusations from users around the world that it censored content about Israeli aggression towards Palestinians. This definitely seems to be kind of a common trend, like people on YouTube being taken down from talking about this, and it always seems to be a kind of incredibly sensitive topic. Have you guys noticed anything like that, or like what's your original reaction here to this story?
I don't really. It's Instagram's fucking their moderation system screwed up. That's what they're claiming.
Yeah, they're saying it was like a moderation mistake. Well, I think it's just like a broader sign of how it's kind of tilted away from like views Palestinian. Pro-Palestinian content, like in with terrorism, almost. Yeah,
it's a little concerning that their moderation system would label a mosque as a terrorist organization. But Facebook, yeah,
Facebook continues to cover itself in glory. The error, which was flagged internally by upset employees on Tuesday, caused Instagram to remove or block the post with the hashtags from the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So in an attempt to draw attention to the violence, Instagram users posted videos with the hashtag in English, the hashtag in Arabic, only to find that their posts had been taken down or hidden from search results. In one case, employees saw that Instagram had removed the infographic describing the situation at Al-Aqsa because of its association with violence or a terrorist organization. After the employee filed a grievance, they wrote an internal post. They were informed that an image was taken down based on a reference to Al-Aqsa, which is a designated organization, a Facebook term that pretty much refers to the dangerous individuals and organizations. Both of these mistakes, and many others, are entirely unacceptable. Al-Aqsa is the third holiest site in Islam and a central aspect of faith for some 1.8 billion people. And that's what I think is kind of interesting about this conflict as a whole, because the attack on the Al-Aqsa Mosque is going to affect Muslims all over the world and potentially kind of reinvigorate the Israeli, or not the Israeli, but the Arabic world to the Palestinian cause. Do you think that is a possibility of happening here? Either of you?
Probably not, honestly. Israel, before all this happened, I mean, I don't think they were planning for this, but they just normalized a bunch of relations with Arab nations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So they have these normalized relations. I don't think like Saudi Arabia or like the UAE is going to be like, okay, I guess I'm just going to abandon Israel, because Israel has like an economy that they would like to trade with. And I think they got tired of sending like the PA money, Palestine money, because they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting to see the divide between the governments and the people on Palestine there, because you have the much more supportive, generally, government populations, but that with Muslim leaders, even if you just sign a normalization of relations, the kind of what they did there in the Al-Aqsa Mosque definitely is going to not make people happy, even if I think you do have normalized relations.
Yeah, I just don't see them backing out.
Yeah, I think the leaders probably won't, but especially with the people, but they're not really democracies, so it doesn't matter for too much. But the people are probably not going to see Israel more favorably after that, even if their country normalizing relations may have helped a little bit. All right, we're going to take a minute break, and after that, we'll discuss Republican Party politics and the recent expulsion of Liz Cheney. Hello, everybody. You know you want to keep it locked to the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. We have a lot of fun stuff coming your way on the programs. News flashes, of course, new every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our flagship show continuing to bring you the news you need in this new political era. Uncultured is now live mixes, getting back into it. And, of course, that'll be every Saturday. And Hidden History is out every Thursday, wherever you get your podcast. This is the Spencer Walsh Radio Network's new spring lineup. You can listen wherever you get your podcast. And please be sure to rate us, review us, send us some comments. Spreaker.com/TSWS is the way to do it, or wherever you listen. However you listen, thank you so much for listening. This is Spencer Walsh Radio Network. Anyway, let's get back into it. Today we are talking about the Republican Party in New York Times. Jonathan Martin Redding, as she arrived at the Capitol on Wednesday morning to meet her fate, the soon-to-be deposed Republican in the House hinted she was already eyeing her next role. The party is going to come back stronger, and I'm going to lead the effort to do it, said Representative Liz Cheney as she stepped into an elevator and down to her demise. Less than an hour later, accompanied by the acclaimed photographer David Hume Kennerly, a family friend, Cheney returned to her office for an interview with NBC's Savannah Guthrie, and a sit-down with Brett Baier of Fox News was to follow. The message was unmistakable. Her colleagues may have stripped Ms. Cheney of her post as the House Republican conference chair, but they have effectively handed her a new platform and a new role as leader of a small band of anti-Trump Republicans. Representative Kevin McCarthy, the Republican minority leader, was trying to address a short-term challenge, and in a narrow sense, he was successful. He will no longer have to contend with a member of his leadership team who, much to the consternation of him and his colleagues, continues to condemn former President Trump's attempt to overturn the election, as instead of kind of going back and forth in a weaselly way like McCarthy. By communicating Cheney from her position, however, Republican lawmakers have created a host of new problems for their party. They've underscored the grip that the increasingly unpopular Trump retains on their ranks, demoralized Republicans and independents who want to move on from his tenure, and perhaps was significantly emboldened by a household name conservative to take her case against Trumpism far beyond a Capitol conference room. So all this stuff I'm a little bit skeptical of, because I really don't see Liz Cheney as a household name. Like, do you guys? Am I crazy here?
I think they, not her specifically, but if they hear Cheney, they're like, a Republican person, so maybe a little bit.
But like the Republican Party, as it's constituted now, like hates Bush, like, and probably hates Cheney too. Like very much member of the like old Republican Party that Trump supposedly turned everyone against. Like, will Trump's grip fade, or?
Will Trump's grip fade?
Like,
most likely.
Yeah, has he turned them against the previous Republican administration? Like, I think at least definitely when they were booing George Bush and the Iraq War in South Carolina, like that was probably the moment where I was like, I don't think the Cheneys have that much political power in the Republican Party, but maybe that's changed now. I don't know if I've seen enough evidence to suggest it though.
I mean, I think the Cheneys are still a household name, but their power is definitely decreased.
Yeah, but I don't know. Do people only know Dick, or do they know Liz as well? You know, that's the thing. I mean, Wyoming's not a very.
Probably know Dick.
I think most people think of Dick.
Yeah, and it's not like she's been on TV throughout every second of the Trump administration. Like
she was on the news. Like, she's been on the news a lot recently. But yeah.
Yeah, recently when she turned against Trump, that was the big thing. But like, you know,
turned against Trump by accepting election results.
She betrayed him. It's not okay. Okay, guys, I can't accept it.
Trump's gonna die in the next 10 years. That's gonna be the end of it.
What? Trump?
When he dies.
Yeah. People are just gonna be like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, there's no point in voting, you know.
I mean, most people have already basically forgotten about Trump. If you look at like Google search trends, it's basically just collapsed.
Yeah, and I've seen like this really great series that's about like the Trump slump, like all these products that were made to like support Trump or oppose Trump, like the person who made those lawn signs that are like, in this house we believe in immigration is real, like science is great, water is good, and like stuff like that. Like that person is like struggling to stay in business, which is like kind of not surprising, but you know.
Damn, Eli's right. Trump searches really are down.
It is a sign of the times for sure. Yeah. How much? What percent are they down? Did it say?
It like on January 12th or whatever, it was like a 44. I don't know like what the numbers mean. Uh,
Just share
value
like
of
what you see on
160
your screen.
popularity. A value of 50 means the term is how is popular. Basically, they're at like 5 now, and they were at
Wow.
44. So they're very much down.
That's a
And what
lot.
about like during when he was president?
Let's see, past 5 years. The peak search was when he got elected in 2016, and then it was really low all the way up until like 2019 December when it spiked, and then it spiked during election season, and then again at the Capitol riot, and now it's even down lower than when he was president.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected.
Basically, he's fell off.
Because who cares anymore?
Yeah, no one likes the office of the president, Donald, like from the desk of
Yeah.
President Donald Trump or whatever the hell it is.
Him
now.
getting removed from Twitter is like
It was
a really
insane.
big deal.
Yeah, like that's what I think. Like the platforming power of Twitter is like it's really people don't give it enough credit. Like how important it is to not like if you can do that to Trump, like Twitter just killed him, and him not being president.
Using the desk. Let's see. Oh yeah, he tweeted yesterday. A guy named Miles Taylor, who I have no idea who he is, don't remember ever meeting him or having a conversation with, gets more publicity pretending he was in the inner circle of our administration when he was definitely not. Some people
Oh, this
refer
is the
to
guy
him
who was
as,
like this is the guy who
quote,
wrote the anonymous
absolutely
book.
nothing. I hear he's CNN and MSDNC all the time. But he had nothing to do with any. Dude, he's literally the greatest shit poster of all time.
He's the that's why. Now do you agree with me that he should be back on Twitter?
Yeah.
Come
I
on,
know,
come on, everybody,
but it's
come
really
on.
funny.
Obviously.
He's everything he says is like copy pasta. If there were long and horrible gas lines like this under President Trump, the fake news would make it a national outrage. Did Joe Biden put Hunter in charge of our energy with all of his Burisma experience? Even Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm is lost. Oh,
You should read the one where he's like, in Joe Biden's America, even our horses are junkies because the horse that won the Derby tested positive.
Liz Cheney is a bitter, horrible human being. I watched her yesterday and realized how bad she is for the Republican Party. She has no personality or anything good having to do with politics or our country. She is a talking point for Democrats, whether that means the border, the gas lines, inflation, or destroying our economy. She is a warmonger whose family is stupidly pushed us into the never-ending Middle Eastern disaster. Okay, well, he's around that. Draining our wealth and depleting our great military. The worst decision in our country's history. Okay, I don't agree with that. I look forward to soon watching her as a paid contributor on CNN or MSDNC.
He's right about that.
Yo, wait, when did this MSDNC term, when did he come up with
It
that?
literally started from like Jimmy Dore.
That's hilarious.
And now it like went to the right, and now Trump uses it. It's like MSDNC is talking about Hillary Clinton again. Like I should look that up. Who started? I bet it was Jimmy Dore, because that's where I first heard it.
Jimmy Dore is an idiot.
Oh my god, yeah, he's really dumb. And now it's just giving me MSNBC results, of course.
There's no way Trump could have resolved this like Israel issue. There's just no. I don't know what
he gave it his bet. Yeah, he would just say Obama or Netanyahu do whatever you want. Like that's how he would resolve it.
He'd give Bibi like an extra bill, maybe a few extra bill.
Yeah.
He threw Bibi a few fat stacks. Yeah, that's what he did all 4 years. Like that's what the Abraham Accords or whatever that joke was.
What is happening to Israel is a travesty. Sad. Israel needs to defend itself against these terrorists.
Israel, you weak. Bomb them good. You got to bomb the Palestinians, folks.
The
They're
U.S.
Arabs.
supports Israel.
They were celebrating on 9/11, folks. We got to get them. That's what he says about Israel.
Lamau.
Yeah, what were the Abrahamic Accords? Wasn't that his deal with Jared?
Jared. Actually, Jerry did I think he did. Didn't he do like a decent job? He
Well,
did broker like some deal.
Yeah, he brokered a deal by like literally just negotiating with the Israelis, which is kind of like easy to do if you're just negotiating. It's like, do you want this? Well, yes, I want it.
So now, even our Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit,
Yes.
is a junkie. This is emblematic of what is happening to our country. The whole world is laughing at us as we go to hell on our borders, our fake presidential election, and everywhere else.
Yeah, it's like you just sometimes you just miss them. You do. Like I think the honestly low key the people are not going to it because it's not on Twitter, but
Oh my god! Wait,
these could be better.
Posting about the election at 6:31 in the morning on November 7th, a dump of 149,772 votes came into the state of Michigan. Biden received 96% of those votes, and the state miraculously went for him. Has the Michigan State Senate started their review of the fraudulent presidential election of 2020 yet? Or are they about to start? If not, they should be run out of office. Likewise, at 3:42 in the morning, a dump of 143,379 votes came in to the state of Wisconsin, also miraculously given to Biden. Where did these, quote, votes come from? Both were state election-changing events. And that is on top of the other corruption, without even including the fact that neither state got legislative approval, which is required under the United States Constitution.
Legislative approval for what?
Like, I don't even know. I know half of this is a lie. I just don't know which part he's lying about and which part is just like the truth that he's twisting.
I think that's the point.
Yeah. That's why he should be off Twitter.
I mean, all the people who are gonna believe it, which is like they're like
He's
subscribed.
Like satire, but real.
They're like subscribed to this site already, so it's not gonna make much difference. I think people just gonna be like laugh at the funny stuff though, like when he's like, "Even our horses are junkies, folks." It's so sad.
They are junkies.
I liked the post by accident. Now I can't unlike it. No.
You're gonna all the forwarded emails are gonna rush down.
I'm literally I'm on an FBI watch list right now. God damn.
That's unfortunate. Well, that's like free security for your house. You don't have to pay for ADT anymore.
Save America. How much money do you think Trump has made from merch? He sells straws now.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
like he just tricks old people into pressing the like recurring donation thing, and that's how he gets like most of his money.
Wait, he's selling a doormat that says, "Don't blame this family. We voted for Trump." That's literally good. Some lip shit. That's exactly what the fucking killer.
That is good. I'm sure. Like, I vote still with her. That's like pretty much still with her.
Yeah,
but even worse.
That was literally
even worse.
That was like what Jeff, the reply guy, had in his bio. Like, don't vote me. Don't blame me. I voted for the email lady. Oh my god, Trump! Don't be so cringe.
Wait a minute. I'm about to find it. Oh no, there is one. It's $270, and there's a "Don't blame me. I voted for Trump" flag. That's $29.95.
His site is so horribly organized.
Yeah, you can get these 5 times. You can get 5x bumper stickers. Don't blame me. I voted for Hillary.
Does he still sell the Make America Great Again hats? Yeah,
the classic
people are gonna wear those, and like how many years do you think it's gonna take for people like wear those to be like ironic?
Like
it's
2
already
years.
happening.
Actually, no, not 2 years. Probably more.
Or probably like 10 years. Like however long it took. Yeah. It took like that. However long it took for like George W. Bush to go from being hated to like loved again. Like that's how long it's gonna take for people to start wearing those. Ironically.
Oh, but he's such a good painter, Walshy.
His paintings show the kindness of his heart. That's the truth right there.
He's a peaceful guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's one thing we know about George Bush is he likes peace, and
Exactly. That's what I've been saying this entire time.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of someone who also likes peace, Liz Cheney. We're taking it back to Liz Cheney, folks. She was just one of 10 House Republicans who voted for Trump's impeachment in January and orchestrated a January op-ed in the Washington Post. This is like the most, and someone quote tweeted this on Twitter, like a reporter was like, "She's an American hero for doing this action." She secretly orchestrated a January op-ed in the Washington Post from all 10 living former defense secretaries, warning about Trump's attempts to politicize the military.
What we need to do? We need to send Liz to Abu Ghraib.
Yeah, she would like it there. I think she would appreciate it.
Bush can set it up.
Her and the 10 defense
dad,
secretaries as well. I would be for that.
That was her dad's whole thing. He could set it up for her.
Enhanced interrogation. That's my. Got to do enhanced interrogation. And despite warnings and threats from her colleagues, she continued to double down on her condemnation of the former president. So yeah, saying freedom only survives if we protect it. It was just like literally the biggest speech ever in history. But the truth is here, Republican politicians have a habit of inviting the most extreme elements into their house and then bemoaning their fringe friends as the party gets out of control. One great example of this is former House Speaker John Boehner, who made a name for himself with the hardball politics of the Newt Gingrich era, came to pretty much despise the Tea Party movement and the politicians it elected, people like the Freedom Caucus and Ted Cruz, even as he failed to remain in the movement's most extreme positions while benefiting from its rise. Cheney is no different. Until recently, Cheney was right there with the president, even though he was always made clear exactly who he was. In 2019, she was competing with Senator Rand Paul, according to the New York Times, to see, quote, who is Trumpier, earning praise from the likes of ardent Trump backer and scandal-plagued Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. She was in line with Trump's positions 93% of the time. Until the 2020 election, her most notable differences with the president were on foreign policy, where she was worse and was more hawkish than Trump and in the line with her dad a lot more. She disagreed on policy, but was never acrimonious. Cheney's public breaks with Trump and some members of her party started coming more frequently during the coronavirus pandemic, where she backed Anthony Fauci and other medical experts and urged people to wear masks. In December, she also voted against increasing COVID-19 stimulus payments from $600 to $2,000, something Trump said he supported. So a lot of these areas, Trump is actually better than Cheney on. So, what do you think that we should kind of take away from this Cheney action? That she's so bad, and the fact that she's kind of coming out against this shows how bad Trump's behavior is, or that she is a bad person to take our morals from. What is your reaction on this? Zach, you go.
Liz Cheney's my hero.
Liz Cheney. Can I quote you on that?
She's not my hero. I don't agree with her on anything except for the fact that election results are real. That's just pathetic. I don't even know what to think about this, honestly.
Yeah, I really think you can.
A little bit. It's honestly too much.
It's good that she did it, but you don't. I still don't give her any respect, though. She's as a politician.
An ounce of respect.
What?
What about 1 ounce of respect?
1 ounce of respect. I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
A gram of respect.
A gram.
For doing the most basic thing that you can do.
Yeah, literally just saying you should wear a mask and the election wasn't stolen. But can we please, she doesn't really care which president is in there because they're still going to bomb all the places she wants to bomb, and that's all she really cares about.
She wins no matter what.
Yeah, that's she's from definitely from a brand of politics where it's she doesn't care about pretty much anything except for foreign policy. And when it's about doing things like stopping, more stimulus checks and things like that. So yeah, blowing definitely
stuff up is fun though.
What? Yeah, blowing stuff up. You like to see, you like to be huddled in the Situation Room and watch the operators come in and then blow it up. Boom.
It's better than a movie. There's real consequences.
The Abu Ghraib people didn't even go to jail for that long. This is terrifying.
The purpose.
These people are literally war criminals, and some of them served a year in jail.
The American officials, the American.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It was found out pretty later on, right? It was done in 2004, right?
Yeah. Okay, some of them spent 4 years. Jesus Christ. Only 4 years for literally torturing a person?
Yeah, people. If you look at what like black people have been arrested for, like stealing hedge clippers, you get like a life sentence or something
what
like
the fuck?
that.
We send people sell fucking drug. You sell weed and you get fucking like 30 years in jail. These
Yeah.
motherfuckers
Alice
literally
Johnson.
torturing someone and they get like 6 months with parole. Holy shit.
Physical abuse.
Imagine literally getting more prison time than a war criminal.
I mean,
An
oftentimes
actual
the real war criminals
criminal.
don't get any prison time, so it's not that hard
Yeah.
to imagine. Between May 2004 and April 2006, these soldiers were court-martialed, convicted, and sentenced to military prisons. So that's good. The torture memos came to light a few years later. This is around 2005, maybe? I don't know. Associated Press report was 2003. So that is very... They originally like broke the story. Oh my
I
goodness.
can't believe we did this.
Oh my goodness. That is disturbing. This is... Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I gotta say... I didn't even realize some of this stuff. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm on the Wikipedia.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here on the screen is like this picture is probably it's probably a pretty famous picture, but it's these two like American operators, Lindy England and Charles Grainer, posing behind a pyramid of like naked Iraqi prisoners, giving the thumbs up sign. So this is just like they're like on top of each other. I don't even know what.
Yeah, those. I think a lot of those, at least the soldiers, I think they went to jail, but not the like
Whoa.
that ordered
This
it.
guy is also super racist, surprisingly.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that makes sense. You kind of have to have a mind. You can't just be like that and go to home to your kids and like be normal.
Correctional officer, and he poisoned one of the new guards' coffee and put bear mace in it.
Why?
That's-
Because he was black or something?
No, it doesn't say why. As a joke,
Is it maybe?
Dude, it was just a prank, bro.
just put bear mace as a prank.
Oh my goodness.
Also, he just would like beat up people who were handcuffed.
I mean, that's not that's like basic cop protocol.
He's literally thumbsing up over a dead guy.
Yeah, Jesus. He released from prison August 6, 2011, after serving 6.5 years of his 10-year sentence. So, yeah, he probably got parole because he was such a good guy. Domestic abuse. He's also got some domestic abuse.
Whoa. Oh,
A 6-month
to death.
A 6-month
What a
order
way to
was
go.
granted unopposed by Grainer. Shortly after the first one expired, Stacey Dean granted a second protection order saying Grainer had come to her house, thrown her against some furniture, thrown her on the bed, grabbed her arm, and hit her face with her arm. 3 years later, Dean called the police after Grainer came to her house and attacked her. Dean said Grainer had yanked me out of my bed by my hair, dragged me and all the covers into the hall, and tried to throw me down the steps. So, like, these are the people the United States was like wanting to be the face of them abroad. This was before the war. So it's just crazy stuff. And there's all things that Liz Cheney's father helped oversee and her ideology supports.
That face when you enhance interrogation someone to death.
It's like the same
Wow.
face. It's like the same face Trump makes at the golf course. That's literally the same pose that they were doing. Like, we just tortured folks. Thumbs up, smile. Yeah. Really just an absolutely... In November 2003, he was awarded a commendation from the Army for serving as an MP in Iraq.
Which guy?
Military police officer. Charles Grainer.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that is bad.
A dishonorable discharge is too good for these people.
Did he get a dishonorable discharge?
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah, they were convicted of war crimes.
Okay, I thought because went from commendation to discharge. Like, that's something. Yeah, in 2011, Liz Cheney gave credibility to birthers and refused to denounce them during an interview with Larry King. That's interesting. I think the Democrats have got more crazies than the Republicans do. That's what she said. Yeah, and she, of course, has been very, very happy to call or Ilhan Omar, an anti-Semitic, Jew-hater, racist who loves terrorism. But
Hey, whatever happened to that AOC MTG debate?
I think she filed a restraining order against her.
actually,
AOC filed a restraining order against MTG.
It says AOC MTG debate date. MTG says she's ready to debate AOC on Green New Deal. That would be interesting. That would be like what? Just like we
the
deserve
best
something
picture
like that.
is her wearing a mask that says like "We are being silenced" while giving an interview.
yeah. She was she was a big deal for like a month, and then she kind of dropped off.
I can't. How does someone like that win an election in
Because
America?
if you live in a district with no competition, it's very easy to win.
Yeah, she was running unopposed.
Scary. Oh yes, she had a censored mask, and she was literally giving a speech.
Well, yeah, she was clearly being censored while she was giving the speech.
Yeah, on national television.
Yeah, it's very funny there.
Lauren, what's the other girl's name?
Lauren Boebert.
Lauren Boebert, let's go, Queen.
She's the one that brought Chick-fil-A sauce to my attention.
She's horrible firearm practices.
Yeah,
but
and she has horrible restaurant practices. I don't know if I brought this up on the show before, but I believe I have told Zach that she was like had like a health code violation because her like pork sliders caused like a whole rodeo of people to get food poisoning and like diarrhea.
Some people get food poisoning.
With the price of gas, at least Antifa and BLM won't be able to afford to light everything on fire this summer. That's literally over. What do you mean? The pipeline.
And I was gonna say, if she said cars, it's like it's not like those people have cars anyway.
They're literally milking it e-bikes so hard. Like Trump could not have prevented this. What do you mean,
guys?
What is Biden supposed to do?
New York City is like never. Everyone's leaving. It's a dead city. There's no one there. Like,
yeah, who wants to live in New York City when you
don't believe your eyes? Yeah, it's like Bill de Blasio. I saw Bill de Blasio was like tweeting like, "Sorry, haters, New York City's back," because there was like this article that was like showing that. It's like,
wait, I'm so confused by this tweet.
Okay, Bill.
Newborn babies in a reinforced hallway in an Israeli hospital, and she quote tweeted, "This is what happens when you send $235 million to a terrorist regime." Did we send Hamas $235 million? What?
I believe they get some aid.
Oh my God, this is one of the best. This is one of the best. This is
Is there no limit to how awful Biden's America can get?
This is what. Let's react to this clip. I have a Newsmax clip for us here today, about Israel. This is probably the second most interesting host on Newsmax. First being Greg Kelly, who recently was famous for his Balmain pants.
I do not want to ever see that again.
What? The
torture victim.
Oh yeah, please. But yeah,
what do you mean? How is it Israel?
Can you? Share the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen.
But
all right.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, this is Newsmax. This is Grant
As I
Stinchfield.
talk about what's happening in Israel right now, folks, one of the biggest problems is that America is weak. I told you none of this would have ever happened under President Trump, and didn't. Well, a friend of this program, Rabbi Shmuley, really went public today in a big way, denouncing the Biden administration and his
He's one of the most right-wing Jewish
response
figures
to
in
what's
this
going
country,
on. Listen to
I believe.
Rabbi Shmuley, who is in New York.
Where is President Biden to show moral leadership?
What?
Where is President Biden to show moral
What are we
courage
not doing?
that the United States stands with those who fight for freedom and not for terrorists?
Well,
Israel is
he talks
literally
about
evicting
moral
people.
courage. It is something, sadly, that Democrats do not have. And I would ask you, if you are Jewish and you are a Democrat and you are living in America today, how do you support an administration that turns its back on your home country? I do not understand.
That is so insulting. Did he
Israel
really just
is
say
our
that?
one true ally in the Middle East.
Oh,
You
my
know?
home country. Oh, just so I can't. I'm not an American just because I'm fucking Jewish.
Pretty sure they-
Yeah, you have
Me?
dual loyalties. That's what he was saying. It's literally the same thing that this
Fuck
guy
this
flipped
guy.
out at Ilhan Omar for like supposedly hinting at.
That's so insulting. Holy shit.
It's literally insane.
This-
Like I love how
oh,
they're anti-Semitic like without even trying. Like
I
it's
bet you I'm more
I mean-
patriotic than this fucking retard. Excuse my language. Fuck this guy. Wow. What a huge fucking colossal anus fissure.
Anti-Semitism does tend to pop up in the diaspora whenever there's a conflict in that region.
between like American Jews and Israeli Jews and all that.
Whenever there's a flare-up, anti-Semitism in the diaspora increases significantly.
Like with
Yeah,
people,
seriously.
like with like Israeli Jews and American Jews going back and forth. You mean, or
Then like when there's a conflict in Israel and Palestine, like in America and like in Europe,
Mhm.
there's an increase in like hate crimes.
oh yeah, against
Just so we're
Against
clear, this guy probably only supports Israel because he wants us all to get fucking raptured when Jesus comes. So
yeah. That's
fuck
the
him.
insane. Like the evangelicals, I think there's some research that showed that evangelicals are more supportive of Israel than like American Jews right now.
Yeah, they literally are because they just want the fuck. They literally
Which
just
is
want the
insane.
rapture. It's like a prophecy.
Yeah, I mean they can't even. I love how like they're the ones. This guy probably thinks that like the most anti-Semitic person in the world is Ilhan Omar, and he is just saying the exact same thing that he thinks that Ilhan Omar is saying without even. It just goes into that because he's just that stupid. Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I actually feel insulted. Calling.
Yeah.
He basically just said that Jews are not Americans. What the hell?
And he's like, he didn't even like almost mean to say it, but he just like fell into it because it was just that stupid.
What an idiot! I hate that guy.
Anyway, that seems like a good place to wrap it up today. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been Newsflash. We'll be back tomorrow, actually.